Boreus, the Clown, for President Chapter 1. The joke that started it all. The stage was set, the lights were dim, and the air was thick with anticipation. The comedy club was packed to the rafters, a sea of faces waiting for the night's main event. At the heart of it all was Boreus, the Clown. Known for his outrageous outfits and even more outrageous sense of humor, he was a local legend. Boreus bounced onto the stage, his oversized shoes slapping comically against the floor. His suit was a riot of colors, his hair a wild, fiery tuft atop his head. The audience erupted into applause, a few whoops and cheers echoing around the room. "Good evening, ladies and germs," Boreus boomed, his voice echoing through the microphone. "I'm Boreus, and I'm here to spread joy like butter on toast." The crowd laughed, settling into the rhythm of his humor. Boreus was a master at his craft, his jokes flowing as smoothly as the juggling balls he occasionally tossed into the air. "So, I was thinking the other day," Boreus began, pacing the stage, "what's the one job where you can be a total clown and still get taken seriously?" The audience chuckled, murmuring guesses. "That's right," Boreus exclaimed, pointing a gloved finger into the air. "The president." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Boreus grinned, his painted face creasing into 1,000 lines of mirth. "Imagine that, folks. Boreus for president." He spread his arms wide, as if embracing the ludicrousness of the idea. "I'd have a cabinet full of jesters, and our national bird would be the rubber chicken." The audience was in stitches, some clapping, others slapping their knees in amusement. "Our national anthem? Make 'em laugh. From Singin' in the Rain," Boreus continued, his voice taking on a sing-song quality. "And instead of debates, we'd have pie-throwing contests. The candidate with the cleanest suit loses." The laughter grew louder, people wiping tears from their eyes. It was absurd, ridiculous, and utterly delightful. "And don't get me started on foreign policy," Boreus said, waggling his eyebrows. "I'd just send in the clowns." Literally. The room was now roaring with laughter. Boreus had them in the palm of his hand, their amusement a palpable force. "Vote for Boreus," he declared, striking a presidential pose. "A vote for me is a vote for a smile on every face and a whoopee cushion on every seat." As the laughter reached its crescendo, something unexpected happened. A chant began, soft at first, then growing louder and more insistent. "Boreus for president! Boreus for president!" Boreus looked out at the crowd, his eyes wide with surprise. The chant was spreading, more and more voices joining in. The joke, it seemed, had taken on a life of its own. He chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "You guys are nuts. But hey, who am I to argue with the will of the people?" The club erupted into cheers, a standing ovation for the clown who had jokingly, unwittingly, thrown his hat into the political ring. As Boreus took his bow, he couldn't help but wonder, what if? It was a crazy idea, sure. But then again, so was a clown running for president. And as the cheers and laughter followed him off stage, the seed of an even crazier idea began to take root in his mind. Maybe, just maybe, the world was ready for a President Boreus. After all, in a world often too serious, maybe what was needed was a little bit of clowning around. Chapter 2. The viral sensation. The morning after the comedy show, Boreus woke up to a world that had tilted on its axis. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, and his phone was buzzing non-stop like an angry bee. Rubbing the sleep from his eyes, Boreus reached for his phone, only to find hundreds of notifications, missed calls, and messages. Confused, he scrolled through his phone. Then he saw it. A video from last night's show, his presidential announcement, was everywhere. It had gone viral, spreading across social media like wildfire. There were thousands of likes, shares, and comments, each one more enthusiastic than the last. "Boreus for president? Best idea ever," one comment read. "Finally, a candidate who can really shake things up," said another. Boreus sat up in bed, his clown wig askew, a look of bewilderment on his face. What had started as a joke was quickly becoming something else, something real. As he flicked through the comments, a smile began to form on his lips. People were actually into this. They were tired of the same old politicians, the same old promises. They wanted something different, something fun. And Boreus, it seemed, was just the clown for the job. He got out of bed, his mind racing with possibilities. Could he really do this? Run for president? The idea was ludicrous, but then, so was he. Deciding to embrace the madness, Boreus made a cup of coffee and sat down at his computer. He started a Twitter account at Boreus4Prez. His first tweet was simple: "They say laughter is the best medicine. Let's see if it can cure politics." Hashtag Boreus for president. Within minutes, the tweet had hundreds of retweets and likes. The hashtag Boreus for president was trending. Boreus couldn't believe it. He was a viral sensation, a clown on the cusp of a real political campaign. As the day progressed, the momentum only grew. There were interviews requests from local news stations, then national ones. There were talks of rallies, campaign slogans, even merchandise. People were creating fan art, writing songs, making their own videos in support of Boreus for president. Boreus was inundated with messages of support, people sharing their stories, their hopes, their desires for a leader who could bring a little joy and laughter into their lives. He read each message, his heart swelling with a mix of pride, amusement, and a growing sense of responsibility. This wasn't just a joke anymore. It was a movement, a call for change in the guise of a clown's whimsical dream. As the sun set, Boreus stood at his window, looking out at the world that was suddenly taking him seriously. He put on his red nose, a symbol of his newfound purpose. "All right, world," he said to his reflection, a determined glint in his eye. "Let's see if you're ready for President Boreus." And with that, a clown stepped into the political arena, ready to turn the world of politics upside down, one laugh at a time. Chapter 3. Reluctant decision. Boreus sat in his modest living room, a rainbow of juggling balls scattered around his feet, contemplating the absurdity of his situation. His once quiet life as a local clown had been upended overnight by a viral sensation he had never intended to be serious. And now, there were real expectations, real people rallying behind the idea of Boreus for president. The phone rang, snapping Boreus out of his reverie. It was his longtime friend and fellow comedian, Sally Seltzer, known for her quick wit and even quicker seltzer bottle. "Boreus, you old jester. You've got to run," Sally exclaimed without preamble. "The people love you," Boreus sighed, tossing a juggling ball up and down. "Sally, I'm a clown, not a politician. The idea is absurd. That's exactly why you should do it," Sally countered. "Politics is already a circus. You'd fit right in," he chuckled despite himself. "Running for president is no laughing matter, Sally. It's a huge responsibility." "Exactly," Sally replied earnestly. "And you, Boreus, have the ability to bring joy and laughter to it. You can make politics accessible, fun even. People are tired of the same old drudgery." Boreus paused, weighing her words. The thought of bringing joy to the often grim world of politics was appealing, but the weight of the responsibility was daunting. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. It was Mr. Twists, the local balloon artist, and Ms. Giggles, a face-painting aficionado. Word had spread quickly through the entertainer's grapevine, and they had come to encourage Boreus to embrace this unexpected journey. "Boreus, think of the possibilities," Mr. Twist said as he fashioned a balloon into a makeshift presidential scepter. "You could really make a difference, in your own unique way." Ms. Giggles nodded in agreement, her face a canvas of vibrant colors. "You have a way of connecting with people, Boreus. You could bring some much-needed color to the White House." As more of his friends from the entertainment world arrived, each with their own brand of encouragement and outrageous suggestions for his campaign, Boreus felt a growing sense of possibility. They believed in him, believed that he could bring something new and positive to the political landscape. Finally, after much discussion, laughter, and a few rounds of impromptu juggling, Boreus made his decision. He stood up, adjusting his oversized bow tie with a flourish. "All right, my friends," he declared, a newfound determination in his voice. "Let's bring some joy to this political parade. I, Boreus the Clown, am running for president." The room erupted in cheers, confetti magically appearing from somewhere, adding to the festive atmosphere. Boreus smiled, feeling a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. He was still a clown at heart, but now he was a clown on a mission. With his motley crew of entertainers at his side, Boreus was ready to embark on the most unconventional presidential campaign the country had ever seen. It was going to be a wild ride, full of laughs, gaffes, and an undeniable charm that only a clown could bring to the world of politics. As the gathering dispersed, Boreus looked at the makeshift presidential scepter in his hand. It was just a balloon, but it symbolized so much more. It was a symbol of hope, of change, and most importantly, of fun. And with that, Boreus the clown stepped into the political arena, ready to turn it on its head.